Welcome, everyone. Thank you so much for joining us today. My name is Wendy Liu. I'm one of the co-founders of the British Sauna Society, and currently I'm sitting on the council member. I'm trained as an architect, so this is really close to my heart to introduce Chris' new book, Ridiculous Good-Looking Saunas, to you guys. So I'm delighted to be joined by the author, Chris Selman. Chris is the founder of one of the co-founders of Out of Valley. And through his work, he's explored sauna culture across different landscapes, communities, and design traditions. His book brings together some of the most inspiring sauna spaces from around the world and stories behind them. So, yes, before we begin, just a quick note. At the end of the session, Chris will ask one questions, and we will have 5 copies of the book to give away to the first 5 people who answer correctly in the chat. So stay tuned for that. All right, Chris, I will hand over to you to introduce the book and take us into these ideas of your beautiful, good-looking book, Sangha books.
Thanks, Wendy. Thanks, Gabriella. Thanks to the British Sauna Society for hosting this, and what you've done for sauna sector scene community across the UK. It's mad to see what's happened in the last 4 years. I guess a bit of housekeeping on this end. Like, I'm going to try and keep this short and sweet and wrap it up within 40 minutes. It's Monday night. It's so sunny outside, and I guess the idea behind giving some free copies away is to keep people engaged towards the end. I'll make it super simple. Have one quick question. I've also I didn't explain earlier, Wendy, but I've also got going to our sauna at the Out of the Valley cabin in this most beautiful setting. We've got it positioned on the Tin River in Dartmoor. I turned up there late last night and then realized the local horse, who is part of the farm, has pretty much eaten the sill of the window. So this evening, I've got to go and measure up this sauna that's been kind of sabotaged by a horse that ate the sauna, which is quite random. But we met, which is crazy to think, about 3 years ago, I think at Emma O'Kelly's book launch at Hauser and Wirth.
Hmm.
And that's when I kind of was still in the midst of like figuring this whole sauna path out. And now it's just like surreal to hear you call me an author. And, I have a book launch in a couple of days, and Rue and I have this amazing business called Out of the Valley. So it's an honor to be here. I also think for like those that are on this call, which they're part of the British Sauna Society, so I'd call you early adopters. But I genuinely think we are at like an infancy. We're at the start of this wave. I kind of often relate it to where yoga was 20 years ago. I think there's loads of synergies with, it's not something new. It's something that's been around for hundreds, thousands of years. Yet our kind of Western culture is, very much like sauna is becoming the norm, for many different reasons. And it's been really fun to watch over the last few years. So in terms of the book, in terms of like my journey, I spent 13 years in Australia, and I worked in corporate. I was in sales and lived in Sydney, and it was a beautiful lifestyle. But I definitely, towards the end of that career, it lacked kind of passion and purpose, and I wanted to move home. So I'm English. I may have a sort of funny accent, but I lived in Australia 13 years, but I'm very much English. And it was in this sauna here, the floating sauna in Lake Derby, Tasmania, where I was sat with some buddies before Dark Mofo Festival, okay? And it was in this sauna here that this light bulb moment kind of happened, whereby I thought, I'm going to do sauna when I get home, I saw this like movement happening about 6 years ago. I I used to sauna on the beach in Bondi, in Sydney every morning. Used to watch whales and the sun come up and people surfing. So sauna is very much part of Australian lifestyle, but it was this sauna in Tasmania. And if you haven't read about it or witnessed it, Tasmania has like the most incredible sauna kind of bubble. I think partly because the climate's a bit cooler, there's loads of shoreline, but this sauna here was definitely the one that kick-started it. I think I spoke to Judith, who runs this sauna up in Scotland, and I think she was out there to go to Tasmania to check a few out. So if you're on the call, I hope you had fun. But yeah, it was this sauna where it all kind of began, and I started to look at ways that I could wrap the corporate world that I came from into kind of starting a career in saunas. Um, and then, I toured the world. I followed my passions pretty hardcore. And I guess the book, in many ways, like there's some beautiful saunas, and it's a book about sauna, but it's a book kind of also about following your passions. And for me, I was really keen to kind of explore and just basically check out as many saunas as I could around the world. I had friends that, were like settling down, had kids, and hated my lifestyle. I would catch up with them and find them and check in from Japan to like Finland to the top of Scotland, just in another sauna. And it was an amazing way to travel. I really find when there's a mission or like a purpose and a passion behind the travel, it can just lead you to the most random places and people. And we'll touch upon how we met in Japan very randomly later on, obviously in a sauna. But yeah, it was a book to like, well, it's where the book sort of came from, but it was purely based on me just like wanting to pursue and step away from corporate. And there were times, when I didn't know how I was going to figure it out. I wanted to originally do what Lake Derby did so well and find a lake in the UK. And I wanted to lease, buy, borrow, find a lake, but then soon realize there's not that many lakes in the southwest of England. And I looked at opportunities in London. I looked at indoor saunas, obviously outdoor saunas. And the more time I spent, for me, sauna should be outside. It changes the experience. And towards the end of that journey, I was almost ready to press the red button and go back to corporate. I was invited to this sauna here, which is Rupert McKelvey's first ever sauna. It's a pretty good attempt at a first sauna. And I was taken there by friends for their birthday. It's called the Retallick Woodland Sauna down in Falmouth. And I think it's been shut for a year. And it's in a magical quarry. You book it for like the whole morning or the whole evening or the afternoon. And I was invited there. I met the client or the owner, and I explained. I was like, "Oh, I've seen hundreds of saunas around the world, and I've heard this one's a good one." And I remember he said, "Can you let me know what you think afterwards?" I wrote to him, and I was like, "Dude, this is probably the top 3 saunas I've been to from around the world." And that letter found its way to Rupert McKelvey, who's the founder and designer and genius behind Out of the Valley. And he reached out and it was like, "Can I use this testimonial on my website?" "Sure, man, go for it." And I was like, "Man, we should meet up. You're doing cool things. I'm a big fan of your sauna." And I remember coming here, which is HQ, our design studio, and this was about 3 years ago, give or take. And within 12 months, I was late co-founder, and Rue and we've got a shared vision, like a real consideration for design. I'm not a maker, but I really appreciate all the things that go into making a sauna what it is. And Rue and we've grown the team, we've grown, like innovated the craft, and it's been like a really wonderful journey of how like that one sauna changed everything. And I used to spend my days in boardrooms, and last week I must have had about 7 meetings in a sauna, which is a pretty sweet way to live. Um, and yeah, it's just yeah, I'm so grateful of where I think I'm literally 4 years to the literally to the week I left my corporate job in Australia. And it's just crazy to think how different my life is. And I've got a book that's just come out, and I've got this incredible business, and I meet the most amazing people. And our saunas are very much, they're commission based, they're made to order, they're all handcrafted by the best like craftspeople down here in Devon, and we get to deliver them to some pretty stunning locations. Here's one that we did. I think it's in Italy. Yeah. Anyway, it's been a lot of fun, and yeah, it's surreal that I'm here. So yeah, I just kind of yeah, that's kind of how the book came about and where we're up to today.
That's wonderful. I mean, I was curious about what sounded the completely change your perspective. So you answered it very nicely at the beginning. Is this moment, is storytelling that is all about the feeling, isn't it? So yeah, since your book is called a ridiculously good-looking sauna book, so what do you think makes a sauna ridiculously good-looking? Is it aesthetic? Is it atmosphere, or something deeper?
I think for me, it's where everything sits in harmony. Obviously, I'm biased. I'm into design-led things. I like beautiful-looking things, but it has to work within harmony of the landscape. It has to provide like an experience. Sauna for me is it's a mini piece of like really interactive architecture,
Mm.
and yeah, it's how you interact with it, and yeah, and I think I like to see things that are playful. Um, the book more so than anything like has saunas that are super playful, and as I put here, one of the key ingredients for the book was about like not trying to put a sauna in a box. I think most people, if you take us aside, probably think a sauna is a little square box or a little round barrel. Yeah, this book of like 36 saunas like showcases the incredible designers and makers and architects and like really talented bunch of people and loads of communities, well, sorry, cultures coming to like how they experience it or like where they place it in its setting. So I think that was an important part of the book. It was to really showcase the varied nature of like how people see a sauna. Yeah, and look, I could have put 50 more saunas in this book. So yeah, and I can't wait for the next one. So if anyone's on this call and they know a sick sauna, send it my way because I'm already collating a list for book number two.
Wonderful. That's why, I mean, the next question is like, how do you choose which one not to choose on this book?
How do I?
Yeah.
Oh, it just page count. No, as I said, I think I gave Gestalten, who's the publisher, and if anyone's design led, it's those guys, and I'm so happy I did it with them. But yeah, like I said, we had 50 more saunas we could have put in this book, and I'm gutted we couldn't put more in there, but we had to cap it at some point.
Yeah, I love what you said earlier, you can't put a sound in a box. So, we can expand it. I think we in our chat recently is more the experience is the whole, is overall, is to do with connection with the nature, connection with how you enter the space where, the Sassia on the screen you're showing at the moment is about a journey to go into the saunas. So I remember there's a Finnish saying which I love. It's called sauna polku,
Mm,
which is a path, a sauna path. So it's an experience just outside the box itself. As you know, it's a something that which the whole design. So yeah, so in terms of that, we just you mentioned a lot about the experience and
yeah.
feelings and but also that is, how do you see it with like a different culture that interpreted, into this
Going back to your
experience?
point about like how you enter like the journey, the theatre, like we often, I'm absolutely blessed to like go to the most magical spots to put some of our saunas, and
Mm,
it's crazy how so many. Well, it's not crazy, it's great. So many of our clients put these saunas like front and center, and I think partly the reason is, you've got this lovely theatre of walking down from the house, the hotel, and seeing the sauna in the horizon and having that journey, I think it all
mm,
adds. We talk about experience and how that journey adds to the experience because it's not for me. It's not just about the sauna. It's completely, as you can see here from Saze, and this is at Sanamane sauna in Nashima Island. I went here. I basically lived the book, and I was invited here in October by this dude called Yusaku, who was basically, we would just Google Translate the whole way. And he said, if you're in Japan, come play. And I said to my buddy, I was like, look, it's a bit of a mission, but we should check out this like sauna that looks like the shell. A Saze is shell in Japanese. It's made up from like 5,000 pieces of ply. And I can't remember his name, but like really famous Japanese architect. And it's put
Uncle
together with
Puma.
that's it. Yeah, your architects,
It's
and
actually
and
designed by
the
his
totem.
son. Sorry, I tell you
Yeah,
later.
and the Totonui boys. The guys that do like really specialist sauna design in Japan. It was like a
Mm,
collective, and Yusaku, the guy that I met, he's like the G of saunas in Japan. His number plate was 37, right? Sauna. 37 is 3 is sao and 7 is na. His number plate was 37. I went to meet him, he picked us up on this in this like giant tuk-tuk, toured us around the island, um, took us to this like in no English. We were just like went on this tuk-tuk around the island, explored all the architecture and design, landed here. The sauna was lit. It was like completely still, flat as a pancake, ocean day. And my buddy and I were just having this like ceremonial moment where Yusaku like chopped down this rainforest branch, tropical tree, and he was just like wafting us around internally. It was like next level. Like it was ceremonial with this tea he was pouring on the rocks. And it actually defied like the purpose of a sauna because you can see the shape of it. It's mad to think it worked, and it seriously worked. And then in the midst of all of this, you turn up with a GoPro on your head uh, out of nowhere. Yeah, I don't believe in GoPros in the sauna, but like it was mad to like bump into you in Japan. Yeah, so that's the kind of background to why I wanted to share this sauna here. And as you can see from the inside, you wouldn't, yeah, you wouldn't kind of think it worked, but it certainly worked. And it was kind of a sauna that for me defies all the kind of you know logics behind the makeup of a sauna and how it should be shaped.
yeah, I think it was incredible when our path crossed. That time, it just like how sauna bring people together. I was literally like contacting the owner the night before. Was almost gone that the night before, but he said come next day. So here we are. So we bump into another great sauna lovers. And it was almost my dream to come here. So it was incredible to go to this
Has anyone on
place.
the call been to this sauna out of
Yeah,
interest?
yeah.
I
Is
can't see
anyone?
anyone, so I don't know if anyone's saying yes.
So yeah, also during our conversation, if anything triggers any of questions, please to put in the chat so we can monitor and help you to talk through that. So yeah, talking just by looking at this, this space, when you mention this, yeah, it doesn't work. Maybe it doesn't really obey some of the rules, which is the Finnish sauna rules, and the ceiling's very high. Can you see that? This is a wonderful, almost like a chimney space. So as Chris
Can you add
explains,
to the go back to the architect? Because I'm actually interested to because it sounds like you know them more than I
oh,
do, and maybe you can touch
right.
upon that.
Yeah, okay. So it's by Kengo Kuma. So he's very famous with all the wooden structures. And he was, so the design is actually by his son called Taichi Kuma. So Taichi Kuma have done quite a few experimental saunas. If you do find it, look at his Instagram, there anything just they understand the rules but they want to play it outside the box, outside what a sauna, could be just within a box. So this is sasie is a snail in Japanese, and if there's other scenes, I think there's zoom out, you expand, imagine you just walking outside through the snail and walking down the path, as I mentioned, the Sanapoku, the Sana path to the beach. There's a beautiful found drifted wood, to remember craft in the path. So it's a connecting with the sea and the sauna itself. Uh, and an individual cut, I think you say like between 4,000, 5,000 pieces of this is
Mm.
called the Hinoki cypress from Japan. Or for some of you people, experience that the Hinoki have very distinguished scent. Some people kind of steam it together, in some ceremony or rituals of bringing some beautiful scents for sound rituals. So can you imagine you are in this like a womb shape, and when the steam comes and it just immerses into that sort of scent or fragrance, aromas, like you said when they put the tea in, I think more than
Yeah,
just
they
the
put tea
tea.
on. I still don't know the name of it, but I have a pack at home. It actually
Yeah.
tastes great to drink, and it smells great to dump on the sauna.
Yeah, well,
Um,
that's the thing to
yeah.
expand about this experience. I think with the culture, it's not just about the building, the design itself. It's the full sort of curated experience. I have a Japanese friend with this tea. They actually, the story about some of this tea is they notice some of the drinking tea. They will throw away the old, the tea because they're not in the drinkable grade, and and um, and then they decided maybe we can put it in the sauna. So they curated lots of different type of tea from Hinoki cypress to Sakura and other green teas and very very beautiful curations. Yeah. So and I, for some of you, most of people notice that ceiling is very high. Do anyone actually kind of wonder where the Lulu will go, or how do you get the Lulu down? Like for example, Chris, if you go back to one of the slide before, yes, exactly. So do you remember? What other picture can share is actually on the Instagram, with the picture of myself and the owner and Chris inside the sauna holding that huge palm tree. So what they do, they actually after throw the lolo, and they will fan the steam from that kind of chimney type of the snail shape, which is I think is a you know about the experience is using the curator, the sauna, the ritual to enhance the experience. So do you agree there's no good or bad saunas? It's how people use it. Does it sort of resonate to all the people here
There's some bad
listening?
saunas out there, but yeah, you know,
There.
I think it's
So,
subjective. I think if it, yeah, I've been in some, bad saunas. I have a sweat, it's still,
mm,
there's a place for it. I think for me, like I think all saunas should be outside. Personally, I think that's something that I've slowly discovered. Well, not slowly. Um, yeah, I think ideally the sauna should be outside. One, the connection to nature, but just fresher air, and I think that makes a big difference. Yeah.
Yeah, that's a very good point. You know, as we were kind of talking about the different culture that you in there, what would be like sort of experience? Let's say, is any you mentioned there's a one saunas in the book, so I guess it's in inside the building. So why do you chose that in your book then? If you think everything should be
I think there is
outside,
one.
what?
I think it's in a city, So I'm not saying all saunas inside are bad, but it's in a city. It's in a studio space. Saying that though, like the interactive like elements like ice bath and cold plunge are external. So you know, it's still slightly outside.
Mm, mm. Great. So.
Do you want me to jump to the next one? Yeah. I'm conscious of time. We're half an hour in, and I've got to go and sort a sauna out that's been eaten by a horse. So I I kind of wanted to, yeah. I guess if you do or I do, want to see if anyone's got any questions. If not, I can chat a little bit more about the book and what we're doing on
Mm,
Wednesday.
yeah, great. I mean, I just want to add on expand your, your feeling about um, the voyage, like kind of
Hmm.
experience, not just sort of also like an internal experience. I think you mentioned some of it also. So let's say in the book, how you started, you describe the sauna as a voyage to reconnect us
Hmm.
to the heat and
Hmm.
nature, and I love it.
Hmm.
It's so beautiful, and so that's the one thing you mentioned about the passion, driving for this traveling, and but also there's something to do with the internal sort of journey. So
Hmm.
yeah, how do you connect, this, can you, expand a bit more this, you could basically, if you can travel within in the sauna sit beyond that
I don't really know
around the
the que
world,
what was the
just.
question?
So I mean so it's not a question, it's more like how sort of expand about the journey. I remember you talk about is
Yeah, sure. I
sitting
think
internally, externally. You could sit in the
I,
sun and travel around the world.
yeah, I think for me, traveling with passions, as the destination, um, it doesn't have to be a sauna. I was lucky enough it was. um, is like hopefully this book encourages people to see some of the saunas that I put in there all around the world, and it's a really nice way to travel because yeah, it can lead you to like the most magical spots. All of these saunas really interact in their elements, in their surroundings. Some of them you have to get seaplanes to, some of them are transportable.
Mm.
There's a famous sauna in there that's a sculpture by this Swedish duo artist, and it pops up in many different countries as more of a sculpture. Um,
The solar eggs, isn't it what you talk
exactly, yeah,
about?
yeah,
Yes,
yeah,
yes.
exactly.
That's a beautiful community project.
So I
Just
guess it's a
yeah.
book about travel as much as it is sauna, and just looking at a different way to travel.
Mm.
And hopefully, you know, inspiring people to like what I love, you know, having seen the sauna uh, culture, community, call it what you like, in the UK, is how there's just little pieces and hodgepodge of like different cultures from around the world happening here. And it's lovely, you can't put a sauna in a box, and I don't think that we should here too, in terms of defining. We can bring together lots of different cultures, and I really love that about going to visit some of the saunas that some of you legends on the call host.
Mm.
Yeah, it's really lovely to see, you know.
Yeah, that's a beautiful, bring people to travel, what they call like a wellness sort of tourism that sauna become, bathing culture play a big part of it. So yeah, let's see, let's open up to the floor. There's the questions from Fleur asking about the herbs and the leaf work. So I guess for you mentioned the sauna, the sasia, the snail saunas in that.
Hmm.
Um, yes, I guess it's they could work with many things. Um, it's no
What's the
different to
question?
that. So the question is like, which herb and leaf would they work in these saunas in Japan apart from
Oh,
the
okay.
cypress? What? Yeah.
I would love to know myself. I've got the bag of tea. I cannot understand what it says. If you, I swear, if you went on there's like a sauna in Tokyo. I think it's just called Shibuya sauna. Okay,
Yeah, it's
it's
called
got
the
like this kind of
saunas. Yeah.
yeah.
Mm.
If you go on their website, I swear they'll sell the tea, and I'd recommend anyone try it. It's really it's really subtle. So I think potentially you could find it there. I don't know what it is, but it's bloody great.
Yeah, they have different makes actually. For we could get into that. And, there's different varieties. The great thing about the Japanese, they're very creative with the mix of the tea. So what Chris
We
just
use
mentioned,
we yeah. No, I just grabbed this from behind me.
yeah,
Uh, it's a turva. You would have heard of turva, like a Finnish pine.
yeah.
We use this all the time. Rue actually has worn it a couple of times as aftershave. It just smells so nice. So another one I'd recommend is this guy here, is turva.
Mm, yeah. And I just want to add on, you mentioned the saunas in Shibuya. It's called the
Hmm.
saunas. It's by this cartoon artist called Kazuki Tanaka. And I recommend for people who travel to Tokyo, and that's right in the center of town. This is one of the things is, it's a purposely built sauna. It's a building, but it's connected to the neighborhood. So that will be a different subject to talk about. Maybe it will be a different book
Mm.
to
Do you know
see
what I found
into.
there is like it's very much like reflection and ritual. You know, the way that they sauna in Japan. I remember being in that sauna the day I left Tokyo, and
Mm,
it was like really introverted. It was like really like it was super reflective. Like people in that sauna, it wasn't that social. It was definitely like this kind of ritual of like go in, be quite introverted and reflective. Yeah, that's what it felt like for me there. Um,
yeah, that bring you
I'm
to
conscious of
your
time,
connection.
so I just wanted to like mention a couple things as we discussed. If anyone's around on Wednesday, there's a book launch in London. If anyone is in London, it'd be sick if you come down. There's some drinks. Gestalten, myself. It's at Earl of East, the store in King's Cross. Yeah, so come down, come say hi. I'm big into meeting people and hearing stories, and super like interested in people that want to know more about Out of the Valley. Even if it's you want to build your own sauna, not we're making handfuls, not hundreds, and we can't make everyone a sauna. And yeah, I'm always interested to hear people's stories. And yeah, if you got any questions, reach out direct or come see me on Wednesday night. Um, you can grab me at those two contacts. Gestalten have
Mm.
kindly offered 20% off to like the British Sauna Society if you want to grab a book. And then the five books that I'm kind of going to send out. If people want to type in, I can't see, by the way, any chats, but if people want to type the answer, and then you guys grab the first people. The question is, what's the name of my company? I thought I'd keep it nice and simple. And if you want it signed or not signed, let the British Sauna Society know, and I'll send you a copy direct, or grab it on Wednesday. Totally up to you. Just let Wendy or Gabriella know.
Wonderful. You guys are on the race. I love to see that. Like we got we can see the five winners here now.
Yeah.
We
So
got
while
five
we,
winners. Sweet. Okay.
Yeah.
well, there's more than that. Yeah, very fast. I'm really impressed. Just while we're just here, just a couple of quick questions here. I don't want
Yeah.
to, so there's a Brett questioning. What with the preference of our building saunas for fresh air, do you also have preferences for wood fire versus electrics?
It's a great question. And actually surprisingly, I'd say 70% of our clients go for electric. And I think that's for like convenience over anything else. Personally, I'm going to build a sauna at my place maybe late this year, and wood fired all the way. Wood fired for the ambience. Like it's just yeah, it's pretty romantic in terms of sight, sound, smell. But also like it works on the vents a lot harder, having that natural draw, and therefore you just get way better circulation of fresh air, oxygen. So yeah, that's my view.
Wonderful. So there's also Sam Meltley asking, what are the key factors for make a ridiculously good-looking sauna for you?
Key factors. I think for me, like it was about having variance, not being put in a box. That's why most of the saunas in there are all slightly different or kind of playful. Um,
Mm.
there's an element of simplicity, being honest to the materials, but it's really nice to like be playful at the same time. So yeah,
Great. It's still going back to the experience, isn't it? I think we could
yeah.
have lots of talk about how different type of sauna, like, from event sauna to just a single, just kind of sauna on your own. And we have leads. Now the questions are coming in. Come on, guys. Um, so do you have a preferences for inward-looking sauna where there's no view or an outward-facing sauna with a big window? I...
If you've seen Out of the Valley saunas, then you're gonna know my answer. Yeah, bring on the view. It depends on where that sauna is, but yeah, bring on that view. But there's times when I totally get it. You kind of don't want the world looking in, and sometimes it's really nice just to
Mm,
have, shut off from the world. But you can have the best of both worlds because, last night at like 10 p.m. down by the river, there was no lights on, there was a little glow from the fire, but I was just in complete darkness. And we've
mm.
also considered maybe doing some nice shutters. We've got this design we're working on where, anyway, for a client, they want a bit of privacy. So we might put these sliding shutters on.
Right.
But
So
yeah,
yeah,
always a
like the
window.
yeah, like the Sasia, there's no windows, right? There's only the entrance
True,
and the windows the
true.
skylight. But I
Yeah,
mean,
true, true, true.
yeah, that's actually that feels like, in the womb of mother's womb that
Mm,
actually really help people reconnect to talk to each other. So maybe it depends on what your purpose. I mean, putting
yeah, yeah.
intentions, right? We talk about the intention setting, about the design. So you want the intention, like the solar eggs and the Kiruna, that is no windows, and that is
Mm,
about building a place for community to warm and connect. Together when they have to displace from, moving away from the community in Corona when they moved the mining village, right? And I
mm.
have Nisha Topin have a question, which is actually is great. She's asking if would fire with the loading from inside or loading outside. How's the out of valley? What's the percentage of your saunas?
Great question. I don't really have a view on that. I have only, yeah. Well, to be honest, my only view, it's not the correct one, is that I really like loading it from the inside because then
Mm,
you get the window of, that ambient glow from the fire. I guess
mm,
there's some conveniences of having it from the outside if you're running a commercial operation.
mm,
So you don't have to go in and out. Um,
mm.
so yeah, I haven't really had done any work with the ones that you feed from the outside.
I see. So in that case, it was
Yeah.
more like the client
I
specifications
had this
that.
crazy idea. I've got to go in a minute, but I had this crazy idea. A mate of mine, he makes pizza ovens called Gosney, and we had this mad idea. I did, not him, that we could make the external oven heater a pizza oven, and then it would heat the sauna at the same time. And you could be heating the sauna, cooking some pizza. I don't think it's ever going to happen, but it's a crazy wild idea that might be quite fun to try out.
Right. Okay, great. Yeah. So I guess you need to go. Any more questions? Congratulations. Great. So we can read out the all the winners here so
Oh, you
everyone
can do
can
it now.
see it.
Cool.
Yeah, why not? That's exciting for the person who's very fast. Well, on the first one is David Taylor. He's a journalist. Thank you, David, for being here, and congratulations for being the fastest. And then we come Liz Coxfoot, Anna Isaacson, Paul Gregory. How many do we have now? One, two, three, four, and Kate Henderson. There you go. So for all those winners, we got your name, and be also please email to Gabrielle so then we can arrange your prize to send to you. Of course, you're all welcome to come to on Wednesday. We have Chris will be on site in out of East in King's Cross and Cold Drops Yard. If you can come, you can collect your book and be signed by Chris and have a chat with us and have a drink. And we can actually, look at the books and yeah, fantastic. Thank you so much, Chris.
Thanks,
Yes.
Wendy.
Yeah, have a
Thanks a
great
lot.
evening.
Yeah, you too. It's so beautiful outside. Yeah, thanks for putting this on. And thanks for, yeah, as I said earlier, all the work that you guys are doing to promote saunas, UK and beyond. Yeah, I have a Finnish auntie, and she's, introduced me to saunas from a kid. She lives in London and is absolutely amazed at like what's happening and how saunas are now, part of our culture. So yeah, well done.
Wonderful. Thank you all.